Hi, this is Aaron Russell, head coach of your Richmond Spiders women's basketball team, and you are watching the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to Commonwealth Sports Talk, Season 4, Episode 7, with your host, Joe Dillard Jr. and Lamonte Thomas. This week's special guest, John Richardson, assistant men's basketball coach for the University of Old Dominion.
And look, I was right around the corner when you was causing hell over there in Woodside from the very beginning. So I just, you know what I'm saying, me and Steph are cousins. So yeah, Steph's my cousin. So I used to hear about all these stories about the scraps, the getting after it, the making the dog out of them. So like, how did all this come to fruition? I kind of almost wanted to jump right into it because I wanted to hear the original Woodside story before we get locked in. Like, how did that opportunity help you with where you're at now?
You know, that's a great question, Joe. I mean, it really wasn't anything special. I was fortunate with that group because those kids bought in to what we as a coaching staff were coaching every day. It's no different than what anybody else is doing, what you guys are doing. It's one of those things where when you have talent and then when you have an opportunity to now work hard and you're invested in being able to hone in your craft and honing your skills and be able to be a dog and work hard and establish a culture, then good things are going to happen. Every possession meant something. We didn't take a possession off, whether offensively or defensively. We didn't take we respected our opponent. We respected our officials. We just respected the game.
Absolutely.
And we did it in a way where, you know, again, we just try to get better every day. We didn't really talk about the championship that much. Obviously, that was the end goal. But if you get better every day and leave no meat on the bone, then the winning will take care of itself. And I coached, and those kids played as if it was the last game of their life. And when you have that kind of mentality to go out there and compete, but most importantly, have fun doing it and playing with your brothers and playing for one another. And, you know, playing for the name on the front of the jersey instead of the back, everything just takes care of itself. And, you know, it's one of those things, Joe, where, you know, every year it got better. And it started with my JV group. And I got to give a shout out to even Coach Davis, you know, that he kind of established some things at Woodside. And then when I took over, I just, you know, kind of just took the reins and just took it a step further. But again, I wouldn't be where I am without those kids. And those kids, you know, really, you know, bought into what we were trying to coach them and what we were trying to sell. And the rest just took care of itself.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. It's almost like when you have step by step the brick being built. And as you're building it, you're not looking back because you know that you're building it the right way. Mm-hmm. And with that 100% effort and energy they give you, you can live with the results. Like that's got to be a rewarding feeling as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, some people talk about establishing a culture. I think that's the hardest part because, especially in high school now, because some kids, families, they jump ship. Same thing in college. It's harder now than what it was back then. Back then, it was a process, and the kids, the coaches, trusted the process. I know that sounds cliche, but it is a process to be able to develop a culture and a program. And I was fortunate, Joe, when I got here from Elizabeth City State, I saw the likes of a Walter Brower and a Dennis Katufis and a Craig Breon,
yes,
Coach Blizzard, Coach Henderson, Coach Ben Moore. I mean, so I got a chance to see magicians, Jerry Ferrier. Again, on top of it, my JV brothers, that I was competing against, Maxie Anderson, John Hunley, James Daniel. So it's funny because, I was, even Mark Godwin. I mean, it was just, the list goes on and on and on. And so when I was fortunate enough to see guys do it the right way. It was a big time competitive spirit when I first got to the PD. Mm-hmm. And so as Woodside being a brand new school back then, I took bits and pieces of what I saw from other schools in the league and kind of, and Coach Davis, and we just created our own identity. When I took over, I had athletes. I knew I wanted to play fast. I knew I wanted to really put pressure on offensively and defensively, without turning the ball over and still valuing possessions and all of that. And still kept it fundamentally sound. I mean, people don't realize it, but defensively, we were just very solid. We didn't run around and just run around and try to make plays. I mean, if we try to make percentage plays. Obviously,
absolutely.
We played pass lanes. We were controlled on our closeouts. We try to contest every shot.
Mm-hmm.
We try to really, when we trap, we wanted to make sure that we took your first and second option away and force you to lob the basketball, cross court. Where now you have guys like Willie Bell and Sam Matupin that's athletic enough to go get it, So it was, and again, but a lot of that started from your shell drill. And then you kind of go 4-on-3, understanding how to rotate. And then when you on the catch, you understand how to close with high hands, stand in the stance, keep people in front, not getting busted on the dribble. And so again, a lot of that stuff we coached and we preached, and we didn't give up layups. I mean, it was just one of those things where we still took pride in what we did defensively. And as a result, once we got it secured, the rebound or a turnover, then we made you pay for it, because we're going to get a high percentage shot, whether it was via layup or the 3-ball. So it was real simple. It's basketball. You don't have to reinvent it. It's like playing pickup. If it's game point, you know how it is. You want to playground game
absolutely.
Point. Now you're going to strap up. But that's the way we try to play, as if it was game point every single possession.
Every time. Yeah, that mentality right there. You named all the big names, that you played against, but being in that area, you see a lot of people with the potential and the talent that don't necessarily get the opportunity. And I think giving your players and giving those kids that opportunity, that's where that mentality comes from, right? Because you don't know when you're going to get the next one. So that's why you play it like everyone's your last. Like that stuck out when you said that to me.
Yeah.
Right. So talk a little bit about them buying into that.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big time Allen Iverson fan. And that's one of the reasons why I loved his game so much, because he left it out there all on the floor. People can talk about the practice and all that kind of stuff. And as a basketball coach, I love practice. I love, that part of it. But understand, you get your money when them lights come on. And every time that young man was out on the floor, he did whatever
100%.
it took to help his team win games, and you appreciated that, especially with his side. And so, I pay homage to a guy like that from here, to be able to have that kind of mentality, and that was kind of passed on toward our kids.
Yeah, and not to mention that quote was highly, highly misquoted, right? Like that's not at all. That's what blew up, but that's not at all the content of which he used. That talking about his friend passing away, and the media picking shots at him, asking him that. Shout out to people like the Undefeated, who get the true story. My man Justin Tinsley, who's also from Virginia, honed in on that story all the time and time again. If you haven't read it, go read that.
Good call. Yes, absolutely, because they don't speak on the gut and grit and grind that he left out there every day. And that's something that goes unmeasured, because now you're getting paid millions. You're getting paid millions, and you still act like you in high school earning your keep. And that is called root. That's from the root. He didn't change it at all despite the money. So, yes, Coach, that's what it's about. The mind of an athlete, Coach. Let's talk about that real quick. The mind of an athlete. Of course, we want them to kind of assume our persona as a coach and to take on our role or how we foresee them or the team succeeding at the year. But tell me when you have a situation where it could go from, and I'm going to say it the other way, from shit to sugar. I'm talking about nobody wants them, or it's misunderstood, or it's just, if you can get him to make this one adjustment, he could be that chip to get you right over the edge. So, talk to me about that. I know that's very essential with young men, young black men, young men in dealing with adversity, and young men at any form of poverty. Talk to me about how that mind of that player has been.
That's a very good question. And for me, I grew up in Bertie County, North Carolina. So I understand being an underdog. I understand, really when you look at the landscape of where I'm from, very rural and it's very poor. And so when you come out of Bertie County, you have a chip on your shoulder. You had a boulder on your shoulder. And so to answer your question, when you look at guys that may not be as talented, and to be honest, I had guys, even during the championship years at Woodside, I had guys that may not be as talented, but boy, their effort level. You can control your talent, but you can control your effort level. You can dive on the floor. Nobody has to teach you how to dive on the floor for a loose ball. Nobody has to teach you to sacrifice your body, to take a charge. Nobody has to teach you to go get that rebound. Nobody has to teach you to save a ball out of bounds, dive on the floor, get back, and then sprint the lane and possibly get a layup at the deal. That's just effort. And again, the effort can get you 10 to 15 points a game.
Easily.
We have a guy on our team, crazy as hell, right now at Old Dominion, Austin Trice from Chicago. He is Dennis Rodman. He hates practice. He might hang out a little bit. There's no telling what may come out of his mouth. But when those lights come on, he does all the dirty work. And he's so appreciated because he do things that some of your stars won't do. You look at Dennis Rodman. You look at some of those guys, man, that made a lot of money. You look at PJ Tucker with the Bucks. Yeah. Okay, yeah, he shot the corner three, but he's strapped up even with, he'll take on a challenge with a KD. He's only 6'4", 6'5".
And checking everybody 6'8" and up.
Guys, yeah, it doesn't matter, about the talent level. I'll take a kid any day, and I'll put my recruit hat on, if you will. The first thing that I'm going to watch is how hard does this kid play, no matter what, whether it's practice, whether it's drills, whether it's anything. Hell, it could be checkers. Those kind of guys win. They help you win in every facet of the game. And so, guys like that, they just you have so much love. And I was one of those guys. I mean, I wasn't a good player skill-wise, even at Elizabeth City State University. But the one thing I tried to control is being able to sit down in the stands, keep people in front of me, and just try to play as hard as I could for as long as I could. And that's kind of the mentality that you got to have, if you're not as talented, and you just want it more.
He took the words and explained them, in the T, Joe. They do the things that other players will not do, right? And that is the definition of intangible, right? Like that's something that, like you said, you can't teach them. You can't pull it out of them. They have to have it inside of them. And when you see that as a coach, you have no choice. You have no choice but to flock to them because you relate to them, right? They want to win as bad, sometimes more than you do. Right? Those are the guys you want on your team.
And when you talk about that, Coach, I mean, like Draymond Green, Draymond Green is one of those guys that he's a fierce competitor, and you gotta have you want somebody on your team like that. Tremendous passer, but what gets him is that intangible. That does he have it? Does he win you games by his effort level and just not taking any plays off? And when I try to be on the road and evaluate, certain kids, Ben Finney, that comes to mind. Local kid right here from Portsmouth, what is probably my favorite player of all time. Because Ben Finney will play 1 through 5 if he has to.
Yep.
He's a bona fide winner.
Baller.
And I love him. And those are the kids. If you want to emulate someone, I wish somebody could go back in the archives and look at a kid like a Ben Finney. Because, again, loose balls, rebounding. He'll even hit the big three if he has to. But it's nothing like a kid that just sacrificed his game to be able to be able to rise. His game elevates everybody else just because of his effort level.
Yeah, and he was 2010 all conference first team too. So his work is in the it's in the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? So it shows, and that's awesome, especially when it's hometown too as well. So that kind of also adds on to it. Coach, talk to me about this ODU experience as a whole, feeling family knit. A lot of times in the collegiate level, it's a dog-eat-dog world, as we know, but it's good to be under a good umbrella, a good structured system where you feel comfortable. So talk to me about this ODU experience, how you guys have been building year after year, putting brick down in that program. How's that been?
Well, for me, it's been a blast. I've been fortunate. First of all, in this business, it's hard to be able to stay at a place for as long as I have. And you got ADs come and go. You got, so many things that go on in our business that people come and go. And for us at Old Dominion, starting with our president, we just got a new president installed last July. But for us, we've had, our previous AD, Dr. Jarrett, was there forever. And then now, you follow with Wood Seelig, who's been there now. I believe this is Dr. Seelig's 11th year. And so it's one of those things when you have continuity, you're going to be consistent, and you're going to be consistently consistent. And for me, coming from Woodside to Old Dominion, I got a chance to watch a well-oiled machine already. I didn't really have to do much of just sit there and just watch the daily operation of a high-level Division I program. And I started from the ground up, and I didn't embrace it at first because I just wanted to be on the floor. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me being the director of basketball operations, because there's so many things that go into the day-to-day operations of a Division I basketball program, and especially a very good one. And so I've been fortunate to work for Coach Blaine Taylor, who brought me in the business, who gave me an opportunity. And then, with Coach Jones coming on board in 2013, those two guys were very, very similar in their approach, preparation, the pay attention to detail, very detail-oriented, Coach Jones, in preparation for games, the scouting reports, just leaving no stone unturned. And all of that has made me a better coach. It's made me a better professional. You get a chance to be able to still be who you are, but you try to be as organized, as detailed as possible. And so, and I'm giving you my short version because, I'm just prepared for anything, truthfully, that the good Lord has for me. But I have a very strong foundation just based off of my time at Old Dominion, because I feel like that we've done it the right way, very fundamentally sound. And we do the things that a lot of teams don't like to do. And that's on the defensive end, making it very hard for the opponent. And then offensively, making sure that we get the best shot available.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
And then, guys, those are the things to me. I know I did my thing at Woodside, but now you can take it even to another level, because you're gonna be anal about a lot of stuff that goes on the floor, and without micromanaging. You still gotta let those kids play, but you can still emphasize just good, solid, fundamental play, total team effort. And just being able to make winning plays on both ends of the floor.
Is it hard, Coach, with some kids coming in trying to learn that college schematic flow of the 40 minutes, TV timeouts, understanding the flow of the game, the rhythm, the distance, the spacing? Like, is that the biggest gap that keeps some kids from reaching that Pentagon or being a year away?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, guys. That's why guys like yourself, guys that come from great high school programs, and those are the ones, for us, we kind of gravitate to, because in the days of the transfer portal and all of that stuff that go along with it, you got to have guys now that are ready, that understand the sense of urgency of being prepared, locked in, and ready to go. If you don't have a solid foundation even from middle school, high school, then your AAU program, all of those things matter, because once you get to college, it's a whole different ball game. Yes, we do talk about the models of the student athlete, but let's just keep it 100, man. It's about winning basketball games, and you're going to go with the guys that understand how to win. And there's a lot of guys, a lot of kids out there, it takes them a little while to understand what that means. We're all about fit, and again, it's kind of hard to do it because of the transfer portal, because, you see a guy in the portal, you essentially got 3 or 4 weeks to recruit that kid. And sometimes there's missteps with that. But on a normal year, it's like dating, man. I'm going to date you. I'm going to holler at you. You're going to show me some flags. And when I see those flags, I can't mess with you no more, because you don't fit what we're trying to do at ODU, and that's the thing for us. We've been pretty fortunate, with guys not leaving as much as other institutions, because we're just very, very big on fit. And most of that fit comes from that high school kid having a very solid foundation from where he's coming from.
Yeah, that speaks to the maturity of the athlete, right? Because nowadays, like you said, people not having it their way. A lot of kids seeing out, and getting what they want out of the program, instead of the program making the best of who they are. And I think a lot of times, it's programs like this where you see the kids who are ready to take that step, right? Because they're not catered to, they're not coddled, because life doesn't treat you that way. And that's what college is supposed to do for you, not just, the athletics, but, in general. This is a time where kids really learn, what these opportunities get them and what they can get out of it, And so, finding that fit for your program is really big, not only for the program, but for the student themselves.
Hey, LT, hold on, Coach. LT, I had to jump in on this one. I had to quote Dennis Green. They are who we thought they were.
Who they thought they were.
Let them off the hook. And
you already know.
When you don't have a culture and you don't have a rock to lean on, when you welcome that that question mark, and it's going to shake that foundation. So if you have that foundation and you have a rock come, the structure that they have brought into the system is only going to mold right on. It's just going to mold right on. Their goal, of course, is to find out where they fit. You know how all children and kids are. They want to find out their role, their impact, how they fit in. But guess what they bring? They bring that hard hat. They're ready to work out. They're ready to know what it takes to make those steps to get themselves in position. And then it's just easy after that. And that's what it's a marriage when you find that before he steps on campus. It is a marriage.
Absolutely. It's no question about that, guys. And again, you know, in this day of age of the transfer portal, you know, that fit is so important, man. I can't emphasize it enough. And you also got to have relationships with high school coaches and AAU coaches to be able to say, hey, look, man, now you all know Jeff Jones. You all know how he carries. All right, he's old school. And the thing about it, old school is still great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because at the end of the day, it's a process just like life is. And that's what Coach Jones does for his guys. Is it for everybody? Hell no. Because of the times that we're in right now. But I'll tell you what, if you can get through a 3-4 year tenure with Coach Jones, you are going to be better suited for life. And that's where a lot of kids, a lot of parents don't quite understand it. We look at it as a 40-year commitment instead of a 4-year commitment, because there are going to be life lessons that you're going to learn in college that you can take with you and be able to use for the rest of your life. That's what coaching is. That's what coaching is. And that's, unfortunately, we've kind of, you know, went off on another road, another lane, and you want the fast track HOV lane instead of just staying in your lane, trusting the process. You know, you might get knocked down, but you're going to get back up. We're going to always build a safety net as coaches where you still be able to learn from a mistake and then being able to move forward with that and being better for it. But we just don't do that anymore. Right now, you want the easier route, which, you know, to each his own. But let me know how that worked out for you in 15 years.
I got a quarterback right off of that. It's called, well, the theme is old. So you got the old school, and usually it's called do. You do without question. Okay. Generally, it's in a well-knit community, so everybody has that love. So you don't question the love. You don't question the why. You just do it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so in my generation, that kind of got lost in the grave where people were saying, but why? But why? If he's not successful, then why? Why just do if he's not successful? So the why is why people like Coach Jones and yourself and programs can instill old school ways and still be successful, because you're telling the why. You're telling the why. You know, a kid that may be on the ropes of being all bought in for you, you may be saying everything right, but you're not telling him why, and he's just sitting there checked out still. You know, that why go a long way, man. You know what I'm saying? And there's still a lot of great old school coaches that I've learned from myself that don't say the why, and I learned the why in my coaching world to implement the old school and never let it go, because I'm bringing old school forward every day.
Yeah, I'll say this, Coach, you know, here's the difference now, and we've had, you know, old school coaches like Coach Jones has to evolve, and so there was always a my way or the highway mentality. Well, even as a coach now, you got to make an adjustment with these kids, so it is a trade-off. You know, it's not all about, you know, just cracking the whip and saying, you know, it's my way or the highway. Now you have to listen to your players. Now, you still are the father and the caretaker of the program, and experience and wisdom still matter. It still matters. But nowadays, these kids do their homework too.
Yes, they do.
And so they know when you are lying to them. And so many times, old school coaches said a whole lot of stuff, but the shit won't true. You know what I'm saying? And
shit don't stick. You said it right, Coach. The shit don't stick.
It just wasn't. You know what I mean? Because they just talked because they had lips. nowadays, when you speak to these kids, you better be authentic in your approach. You can be all old school all you want, but if it don't match what you are saying, and they go back and find out something different, it's a problem on you.
Exactly.
It's on you. And
You
so
lost.
I don't blame these kids now, because they're going to go and they're going to do some research. They got enough technology now where they're going to find out, if you full of shit too. And so that's where old school coaches now have to evolve and be able to come up with the times. And again, I'll give my boss credit because, for the first time, he got a chance to really sit down in a safe place, not in a place where people of judgment or people are bickering back and forth with each other. It was cooler heads. My boss got a chance to be able to see it through the lens of a 19 and 20-year-old, and it made sense to him. And so now I'm looking forward to a great year because now you got both sides on the same page.
Yes.
And that's something that I learned.
And these days they say you can't sell the dream without receipts, right?
That's right.
Like they need to see it, just like you said. They need to see it.
That's right.
Man, that perception is an MF. That perception is an MF because you have yours and you can be 100% locked in on it. You can even be right for all I say. But to not understand why that person is coming from their angle, you've already lost half of your credibility because now you're talking around them or over them instead of with them. And so you could be the most wisest guy with 50 years experience of the game, but if you can't build that bridge, it's all lost on deaf ears.
You gotta be able to connect, man. These kids, they like relationships. They like to be able to communicate and talk with you. They want to have a flat out authentic relationship with their coach. Back in the day, coaches coach and players play. It ain't like that anymore. It's just not like that anymore. And these kids, they need a little bit of nurturing. It's cool. I think every boy and every girl that's coming through the ranks need to be able to be whipped a little bit and then be able to give it a hug at the same time.
Just tell me why.
One thing I do know about these kids, all right, if they trust you, they still will run through a brick wall for you. No matter that stuff hasn't changed. And
Never
so
will.
as adults, we have to make sure that we create that space for them. And if you do that, you got yourself a pretty daggone good team.
Absolutely. This is that one-on-one talk right there. And see, I remember when Coach Jones, he still does those clinics where he goes over his defense, offense, breaks down. And I went to one of them. I think he held it at Bethel. And I'm talking about, man, the X's and O's, the verbiage. It's so much of a language that you do need that right fit, because I could see a kid easily coming in and just being lost or not being able to follow. So it is a lifestyle of the kid wanting to feel connected and engaged, not connected because his dad it ain't all about that. It's all about wanting to feel like he's a part of it. And that's the whole thing. Yeah, everybody may be a part. Everybody may get a ring, but everybody sometimes don't feel a part of it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when everybody's a part of it, it's well celebrated.
That's right.
Absolutely, Coach. Coach, we could politic all day. Bertie County. I know a thing or two about Bertie County, Coach.
Is that right?
That North Carolina lifestyle came down real good because you just like us in the 7-5. So you fit right at the crib. So I love it. Yeah, I love it.
This is my second home. I know where I'm from. I love Bertie County and I love northeastern North Carolina, but I also have my heart, is also here. In the 7-5, and the 7-5 has embraced me. They took a kid, from northeastern North Carolina, didn't really know anybody. I have family here, but from a professional standpoint and from a coaching standpoint, starting with Boo and starting with guys like Craig Davis, and then I mentioned those other head coaches that were here. And I just built some long-lasting relationships, and even with you guys, man. And then the players, the players from all of the schools of the PD and even across the water, in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, Portsmouth and Suffolk, Chesapeake. it's just been one family, man. And I just feel honored to just be a small piece of history of this great region.
No, we're honored to have you on here because a lot of times people don't appreciate the ground up route coming into this area and getting the respect from the 757 is not easy. Coming into the area and working alongside is not easy. And so for you to understand the dynamic and how to do it and then to do it successfully and then to be where you're at right now, hey, Coach, man, I keep an eye on you all the time, Coach. Just put it that way. I make sure my man still got the smile, got the kids in the picture and throwing up that love because you got an energy that's infectious. And, you know what I'm saying? I've seen a couple of practices and I just know for a fact that if there's ever a day that I run out of energy for the sport, I might have to lean on a guy like a John Richardson to tell me how to get back in my route because it's all over you. It's spewing out of you, that love, that wisdom, and that energy. So we appreciate your time, Coach.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I mean, that means so much, Coach, coming from you all. And, you know, again, it's where I'm from. I mean, I treat it as if, you know, there's a last piece of breadcrumb on the table, man. I mean, it's, you know, again, where we come from in Bertie County, man, you don't hear about us, but boy, you know, we get our opportunity, we're going to nail your ass, whether it's in football, whether it's in basketball, whether it's on the track, you know, that's just the kind of mentality that you got to have. And then, you know, I kind of brought that mentality from down there to up here. And what's crazy about it, like you said, 7-5 is just like, you know, you have a lot of guys that, you know, that's not as country as I am, but you go to certain pockets of bad news and Hampton and
Backwood
and Portsmouth and Norfolk and the beach area and Chesapeake. I mean, you go to some of these places, man, you're like, okay, you know, some of them, you know, look like third world countries and they want to get out, you know what I mean? And the only outlet that these kids have is athletics. And so, you know, so again, once you see that and then once you understand their story and where they're trying to go, then it's your job as a coach to help them and put them in a position where they can be successful.
Couldn't have said it better, Coach. Couldn't have said it better, man. But once again, Commonwealth Sports Talk, appreciate your time, Coach. Like I said, the coaching tree is long and dear, so I'm going to stay in touch and hopefully continue to get some of them gems you throwing out and break some bread.
Yes, sir.
But definitely, man, good luck to you this season. Hopefully everything continues out where you can continue to build on that program and no interruptions happen this season. So thanks for your time, Coach.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you.
Good night.
All right, you too, man.
Yeah.
This is the roundtable talk right here, where we bring in a guy that has more energy, success, and comes from the humblest pie. Like, how you got a slice of humble pie and that energy's infectious and you're successful.
He gonna have that drive with him forever.
Bro, I'm telling you, when I heard, it was like a myth to me when I heard about Coach Richardson and at Woodside and moving forward, because you don't usually get that transition from high school to college unless you are that guy. And I don't want to say it directly to him because I'd rather do it at the roundtable talk right here and say it. You got to be that guy to go from high school to college and be successful
like that.
So, you know, I don't even know where to begin with him, and the fact that, you know, coming from Elizabeth City, taking a shot on himself in Newport News, you know what I'm saying, being successful, finding a good tree around the Boo Williams, the Craig Davises, like being with Jeff Jones now at Old Dominion with Coach Stiff and himself. Like, they are really loaded right now with that family at ODU, man.
Yeah, they are.
I'm just impressed. And like,
Yeah, and the fact for us to have more than one of them on.
yeah, and we didn't even bring it up. Like, that's how you know it's like
Right.
pillars to this. You see
Right.
that, like, next month maybe have Coach Jones on possibly. It'd be like, hey, Coach, and just talk basketball, X's and O's, and won't even bring that triangle together. Karen Barefoot just was on, old ODU coach. So we love our Virginia push, you know what I'm saying? And it's so many different people from different strokes of this state that we can definitely tap into. So Coach Richardson is definitely done a great job recruiting. I think that's something that he doesn't get enough credit for, is the recruiting job that he does. Like, he is that's what I meant by when we first came out here on the round table. Like, his energy, his way of coming at you is genuine. And like he was saying, those kids smell that mess now.
Oh yeah.
They know. Yeah. They know. And then as soon as they smell it, that passes faster than any other rumor in school going by. Then Coach, he ain't really, you know what I'm saying? And that's no good.
Be a real one. Yeah, they know. They know now.
That's crazy, bro. Like, and then Coach just, I mean, he hit a lot of stuff on the button. That transfer portal, you really have to have a good program to sustain something like a transfer portal in the rules that have just been kind of shifted a little bit due to pandemic and other outside layers that the NCAA
at ODU, right?
Correct.
Because a program like ODU, you just think about like where they are and then what's around them. You know what I mean? You have other colleges that sometimes the name in basketball programs can be more appealing. Right. So kids see that from the outside and they don't necessarily know the grit and the glitz and glamour of college basketball and what goes on. But once they're in it, and once they feel it, they'll know when it's home. You know what I'm saying? They'll know if they're getting better. They'll know when their chances are maximized, right? When they're running through it every day.
Yep.
So, I mean, that kind of stuff keeps you out of wanting to see whether or not the grass is greener over there, because you like, nah, there's not many guys like this, right? There's not many guys that's pushing me like this. There's not many guys that's being honest with me like this. There's not really guys who really want me to win like this.
Yeah.
So that keeps you, in a program like ODU where they're gonna get the best out of you. They're gonna get the dog out of you.
Bro, coaches don't last past 4 years in college.
Nah, and he been there.
It's been a minute. And that's what, like, he even says so himself, but it's like, and even with success, coaches don't last long in one place.
For real.
You have 3 years of success. There's a lot of people knocking on that door. And I think that's, you know what? I'm going to rewind that and say it that way. I think that's what breaks down programs sometimes, when whether he's an assistant or a lower major successful coach and you want to bring him up or give him the realm, if he doesn't have an umbrella strong enough to inflict the fundamentals that he's been taught, the values, his core values in his program, then you're bringing a great head coach, but you're not bringing a coaching staff. So, and what I mean by that is because if we could be the three best guys here, but individually we may not be unless we've already duplicated all the versions of us. So, you got three great coaches every year. You get a grad, you get a fourth, fifth guy, you get whoever, and they can go somewhere because of the umbrella. And that's how you keep building. But you can't go on a leap by yourself. And I think some of these coaches go in that route and then they just kind of grab a guy. Like, no. You need to know the 5 to 7 guys that you would have if you're going to up and ship and go take a head job, because it's that serious with 4 years and you're out. Like 4 years, we gave you 4 years, sir. You had 3 recruiting classes. You had 2 losing seasons with them.
They'll pull it from you quick.
So it's a dog-eat-dog world, bro, and to have that type of success. I mean, the coaches we've had on, we've been lucky. They've mentioned having 8-9 year tenures. Barefoot, Stiff, Richardson, Coach Khan, all of them have had 8, 9, 10 years. And I'm just listening like, yo, this ain't normal. This must be the love of Virginia because, Coach Blow, Coach, you know what I'm saying? All of them have been there for a minute.
Yeah, they have.
So it's just amazing.
Yeah, man, he's definitely a real one, man. A guy that you just sit down and talk to, and you lose time, trying to get everything he's got. He's definitely got some gems, and he's just, raw and genuine with it. And you can't replace that.
No.
You can't fake it either.
And shout out to my dad and his friends with this slogan that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that's what Coach Richardson just described. When my hard-working kids come and give it to you at 100 and your talented kids don't play at 100, I take my hard-working kids 8 times out of 10 because that's going to be the result before you even add your talent. So
all the time. And
home
with them,
team,
you're going to get every chance possible.
That's that home team slogan.
And even if that hardworking kid doesn't take you there, if he doesn't get you all the way over the hump, he gets you further enough to where he can pass. Like, it's infectious, right? Like, somebody else will carry you over that line. Somebody else will carry you there because they see it. Like, there's nothing like your teammates seeing you bust your tail for them, and that's gonna make them. It's gonna make them do the same thing.
People know. People can smell it. Like you said, they know. And, we just want to thank Coach Richardson for his time, as the season is starting to ramp up. I think now as we move on to episode 9, we'll have Kiana Brown, new director of operations at UNC Wilmington. We're going back flying to Seahawk Nation again.
I'm excited for that.
But Miss Brown is from the 757, so don't get it twisted. She could hoop. She could hoop.
Yeah. Well, it explains a lot about the basketball program. I told you, I covered them when they came to VCU a couple years ago. And there was, I'm telling you right now, off top, I remember some of the things that I've seen. I think it was Gigi. They had Sharita Parker, the point guard. She was a baller. Like, they had ballers, man. And these weren't just, oh man, these players played.
That's a pretty good lineup. And that's the thing. There's so much talent in different areas and facets of the basketball world that it takes that skill to be a student of the game. If you're not a student of the game, you're gonna overlook everything and just want, the limelight games, the showcase games. But if you're a student of the game, there's some games that you just can't take your eye off of. And that's how it is. So we definitely will continue bringing it to you with Commonwealth Sports Talk. This has been the Round Table, and you guys stay safe and be blessed.